Welcome back to the David Pakman Show.
Dave, welcome back.
Thank you.
We'll get into some of the stories about your trip after these two stories. There has been a shocking, what I like to refer to as a shocking revelation about Ebola, and that is that the virus may live in the semen of people who have recovered from it much longer than previously thought.
Wow.
And how much longer? They did a bunch of studies, and it seems like months, 3 months. And this is insane to me.
Now, in addition to living there, can it be transmitted for the full 3 months?
Yeah, I believe so, yeah.
Wow.
Living alive and transmittable for 3 months, even after you have recovered from this. And so now, of course, this information must be conveyed to everyone in these countries that have to deal with this. And it's just crazy. And I really don't think we've heard the last of Ebola.
No, that's going to be a tough thing to communicate to some people, at least effectively, in a way that gets them to take the appropriate action for 3 months.
Yeah. And so I think that I'm not saying there's going to be another outbreak on the same level as before, as a year ago, but it just seems like, doesn't this all come from people eating these bats too? I mean, isn't that like where this originally came from?
That I know less about.
This, I believe it was like this bat is considered a delicacy and people eat it. And of course, that's that. Anyway, I guess there was one case where this virus disappeared from the body of someone, Ian Crozier. But doctors found the virus in his eye 2 months after he was cleared of it.
Wow.
Crazy stuff. Kind of scary.
Yeah.
Imagine what happens if this thing just becomes evolves into a more vicious disease. It's frightening stuff. So there that is, another wonderful thing to think about. Here's an interesting story. You know how I was talking about Lamar Odom? I briefly mentioned it, that former NBA star, Lamar Odom, was found like unconscious in a brothel. Apparently he overdosed. And I guess he's making some progress now. But he was in critical condition for a while. And all the headlines start blowing up, and most of them refer to him as a Kardashian reality star, rather than someone who has had a pretty incredible career in the NBA. Right?
Yeah, for me, it's much more notable, although there are more NBA players than there are sort of Kardashians, but it's much more notable to me to be in the NBA than to be connected to the Kardashian family romantically, you know?
Yeah, and I knew he was somehow connected to the family. I didn't know he was ever on the show. I've never watched the show. It's shit and I don't care about it. But I saw this clip from ESPN Scott Van Pelt essentially summarizing the entire thing from his point of view, and I guess the point of view of any sports fan. And I think you should play the clip, Dave. You can get the audio from it, right?
Yeah, let me try.
He just hits the nail on the head, and it's pretty great.
Let's see if I can get this thing playing without an ad. That's the real question. No, I can't. So give me a few seconds here, and then we'll take a listen to Scott Van Pelt. Here we go.
The same.
Here we go. I got it.
There are people who think of Jerry Rice and Emmitt Smith as...
All right. For whatever reason, the audio on this is incredibly low. Maybe if we're quiet, we can hear it. Let's see.
Those guys who were on Dancing with the Stars. Not everybody views things through the prism of sports the way I do, and I presume you do as well, given that you're watching this show. I mean, those are the two of the best, I should say, who ever played football, but if you frame things from the People magazine perspective, it's a different world. To that end, I saw a tweet from rapper Bun B that got to me. It was about Lamar Odom, who fights for his life in a Vegas hospital. His plight was described across entertainment-based shows this way, and I quote, "Kardashian reality star in a coma," close quote. Now, I can't quote Bun B directly, but my feelings mirrored his. Kardashian reality star? No, 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 no. Lamar Odom, unlike those for whom fame is oxygen, whose fame comes in the absence of accomplishment, his fame was earned as Sixth Man of the Year, as a multiple NBA champion, as the result of his significant role with the Los Angeles Lakers teams in being a beloved NBA teammate and peer. Everyone across the league, it seems, loves the man. To read the tweets from the star still in the league was to feel genuine anguish for a brother who has had an unspeakably difficult road and who has struggled mightily to find his footing post-NBA.
Yeah, I mean, he's making a great point, and it's really just an indictment, sort of the reality show culture, where you can be famous just for being famous at this point. And if you're only famous for being famous, then fine. But with Lamar Odom, he's famous for something else, right? Something that actually required a life of very hard work.
Yeah. And like Emmett Smith being referred to as that guy from Dancing with the Stars, right?
Right.
And while he was very good at it, there's a reason his footwork is so good. And it really has nothing to do with dancing. But you have an Emmett Smith story too, don't you? We'll get to that in a second.
Yeah.
But this also reminds me of that thing where Kanye West had Paul McCartney do a song with him, and all these people came out and said, "Wow, Kanye's so good at discovering talent. This Paul McCartney guy's going to be a star." It's just amazing.
Yeah.
But I guess this is just the nature of things. Maybe you can't change this. This is where we are.
Right.
Anyway, Dave, let's get into Vegas.
So I was in Vegas. The first day I was in Vegas was the Democratic National Debate, the Democratic primary debate. We talked about that Wednesday. We planned to do shows Thursday and Friday, and the technical situation just completely imploded. We thought we had a setup that would work remotely. We had video issues. We had audio issues. We initially planned to still do an audio show Thursday and Friday, and then that fell apart, Lewis, when the technical situation fell apart even further. I don't even know how to describe it. We don't need to go into sort of the minutia. So hopefully...
There was even that incident where your hair attacked an off-duty police officer, and that was the whole thing.
So hopefully at the next conference, it's a work in progress. What really caused the problem is we thought we were going to be in our Boston studio by mid-September, and as such, the tech situation from this conference was going to be totally different. And obviously that didn't happen, and that was the root of most of the problems. The conference was Mass Torts Made Perfect. It's a legal conference organized by Ring of Fire host and attorney Mike Papantonio, and it's really turned into a pretty good progressive media meetup. I was there, Sam Cedar was there, Tom Hartman was there, Ed Schultz was there, Cenk Uygur was there for a day. I think I'm forgetting someone else. I don't remember exactly. But it ended up being a great opportunity to talk about progressive media, to talk about a lot of different things. Emmett Smith was one of the speakers at the conference. He did a Q&A at lunch with one of the head attorneys from Mike Papantonio's law firm. That was super interesting. Emmett Smith told stories of his youth, and he told a lot of interesting stories about life after football. People asked questions, Lewis, about the dangers of football and about whether he thinks it's more dangerous now than it used to be. He didn't think that it was. Not that Emmett Smith is an authority on chronic traumatic encephalopathy, but he had an opinion, which was great to hear. Martin Short was the entertainment at the conference this year, and I got to meet Martin Short, which was very, very interesting. And who else was there? Yeah, I mean, it was very, very interesting. Bobby Kennedy Jr., who's one of the co-hosts of Ring of Fire, was there, and I said hello to him. He's now married to Cheryl Hines of Curb Your Enthusiasm fame, so she was there hanging out. It was a very interesting conference, and I still come back to this, Lewis. Las Vegas, for me, is for 3 days max, and the combination of being mostly indoors all the time because these casinos and hotels are so far reaching, you can walk between them without even going outside. I made a habit of taking a walk or going to the pool that they have there every day to get some time outdoors. And the smokiness of the casinos, because I don't want to say all, but at least all the casinos I've been to still allow smoking in the entire casino area, which you have to walk through to get between your room and the conference. I'm sure that's no accident. The smokiness is crazy, and my clothes smell like smoke at the end of the day. I had to bring all my stuff to the dry cleaners to get the smoke smell out of it. My suits anyway, because you can't throw a suit in the washing machine. So For me, Vegas is like 3 days max. But it is interesting to go and catch up with so many people from progressive media.
Yeah, I have never been to Vegas because I just have no interest in going to Vegas. And
Right.
There's nothing there that entices me at all. And so I think the only way I'd ever go there is if I went to that conference with you. That's like, otherwise I'd have no reason to go there, and I would just much rather go even on a trip locally, up to Maine or something like that, or to the ocean or something. That's way more appealing to me.
Yeah,
But
I agree. I mean, Vegas is not. I also don't really gamble. Like, I'll go, with $50 and play blackjack for 10 minutes just to do it. But beyond that, my interest in gambling is pretty low. I know that they have great shows in Vegas, but a lot of those shows are elsewhere as well, unless you're dead set on seeing Shania Twain or Britney Spears, I guess, at this point. So yeah, it's not my primary place for a vacation for sure.
And I Dave texted me. He's like, I'm like 10 feet from Emmett Smith or something like that. And I was like, Dave, you got to give him your card. You got to try to get him on the show. But you didn't approach him.
Listen, I did talk to him. You have to feel out whether it's the right place to invite someone on your show, and it just wasn't. And the thing is, if we do want to invite him on, 100 people were talking to him, 500 people were talking to him. The right way would be to go through the channels at Ring of Fire and say, listen, could you try to, grease the wheels for us to have Emmett Smith on the show? That, I think, would be the better way to go about it.
Yeah, I guess you're probably right. But anyway, that's that. Dave, glad you had a good time. Super jealous that you got to meet Emmett Smith. And maybe there will be, a way to get him on the show to discuss whatever. I don't even care. I just to have him on the show would be fantastic.
Yeah.
The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com.